What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. Wow. So, your man's Terence Crawford has aired out the PBC protection program. This is a madness. Check this out. Crawford posted on Twitter, "It's funny how they walked your Dennis Ugas into saying or requesting to fight an injured man after beating Pacquiao. Question mark face. Now, they're already trying to put that fight in the media. Spence versus Ugas. Makes me think a little bit. They play a dirty game, don't they? So, if you haven't followed my channel, let me give you a quick synopsis of what's been going on. Bottom line. The facts, yeah? The facts are, Errol Spence, Mr. Oh, main man down. I'm the truth, and you know, Manny Pacquiao will never fight me. I'm too young and strong. That dude pulled out 10 days before the fight. The only proof we ever saw was one picture. Also, we actually heard contradictory evidence from Team Spence and the NSAC Commissioner. NSAC Commissioner Bob Bennett said it was a detached retina. Team Spence said it was a torn, so it said it was had a tear. Completely different injuries. Oh, and by the way, to add insult to injury, like I said, the only evidence we got for any of it was a picture. And again, to add even more insult to injury, Errol Spence himself alleges he didn't even notice the injury. Oops. But anyway, now you man are caught up on that. The other information what you need to bear in mind is, I've heard from some sources, as I've reported on in the last few weeks or since the fight, that Manny Pacquiao's drink was tainted by some unscrupulous individuals with some sort of cramping agent, some sort of chemical which causes muscles to cramp. And I've also heard that your Dennis Ugas was told 6 weeks before the pullout that he would indeed be the one fighting Errol Spence. Now, I've given you all the information. Let's now analyse these words here from Terence Crawford. It's funny how they walked your Dennis Ugas into saying he wants to fight an injured man. Question mark face. Now, bearing in mind the information I've just given you, isn't this interesting? Why? Well, what do we know? Your Terence Crawford is questioning the fact, why are the PBC pushing Ugas to fight Errol Spence? Why are they trying to get that narrative out in the media? Which is a fair point to make from Terence Crawford's point of view, because from his point of view, he believes Errol Spence is genuinely injured. If Errol Spence is genuinely injured, Terence Crawford can't understand why they're trying to push a genuinely injured man to fight your Dennis Ugas when he's there. Terence Crawford's thinking, why are the PBC pushing Ugas to fight Errol Spence when Errol Spence has just pulled out only 10 days ago? How possibly could Errol Spence be ready? Bearing in mind, Errol Spence didn't want a rescheduling, did he? If Errol Spence was so ready to fight Ugas now, how? Why didn't they just reschedule the Manny Pacquiao fight? Isn't it? Errol Spence never mentioned rescheduling. Oh, I need 4 months off. Can't fight Pacquiao. Which, by the way, is even more evidence of what I've been saying about this cover-up. But even more specifically to the whole injury claims, what this proves is that Errol Spence isn't injured. Terence Crawford's confused. Terence Crawford can't work out why PBC are linking their man's Ugas with Errol Spence, because he's allegedly been so injured he can't fight Manny Pacquiao. So how can he suddenly be fighting Ugas? Well, there's the kicker. He wasn't injured, which is the point here. It was all a big cover-up, and guess who told you that? I told you that. I've been telling you that for 10 days. And now we see more evidence of it. Because if Errol Spence was genuinely super duper injured, let's not forget this, when the when the claims came out that Errol Spence has torn or detached his retina, many people were saying he's not going to come back from that kind of injury. But yet PBC are lining him up for another fight in a month's time. How does that work? Or even in 3 months' time? How does that work? It doesn't. And now you've got even Errol Spence himself saying, "Oh, I'm going to be back in 3 weeks." Going back in 3 weeks? If you're going to... Wait a minute. You only pulled out 10 days ago. So if you could be back in 3 weeks, that's only a month. Why didn't you reschedule the fight? Oops. I'll tell you why. Because he didn't pull out because of his eye. He pulled out because he wanted nothing to do with Manny Pacquiao. Just what it is. You can be mad, you can disagree, but like I said from the start, if you don't like it, tell your man to turn up. No one didn't ask Errol Spence not to turn up. It wasn't Team Pacquiao. It wasn't Pacquiao fans who didn't want Errol Spence to turn up. Your man didn't turn up. That's on him. So forgive me for calling a spade a spade. Errol Spence ducked Manny Pacquiao, bottom line. And you best believe, for years, people said the opposite was true. People said, "Oh, Manny Pacquiao, he don't want no smoke with Errol Spence. He'll never fight Errol Spence." Oops. He got the fight, and he SHIT'd himself. He was shook, and he found a way out. That's the facts. If you disagree, ask your man where he was at. There is no disagreement. Your man didn't turn up. Black and white. And now you got even people like Terence Crawford begging the question. Why are PBC linking Errol Spence, a man with one eye, who we're not even sure can make a comeback? How is Errol Spence all of a sudden so confident? Mr. went missing. Let's not forget this. After Errol Spence released the one manky picture, he went missing for 10 days. No one could get hold of him. I tried to contact his team. They were pleading the fifth. Speak to Errol Spence's manager. Speak to his lawyer. They don't want to speak to no one. Too many questions. They was lawyered up. Like I said, pleading the fifth. They were making no comment. Yeah? That's what they was doing. All of a sudden, though, now the fight's over. Now the perceived coast is clear. All of a sudden, Errol Spence, yeah, I'm back in 3 weeks. Yeah, I want you guys. Yeah, great, undisputed. Yeah, all this kind of stuff. Where was all that let's get on it energy when you pulled out? Oops. You went silent. That's where the energy went. Nowhere to be found. You was hiding out. Praying that the YB wouldn't put his foot on your neck. But yeah, listen. That's one thing that was always going to happen. You're going to find the YB's neck right on your neck. "Oh, man, my name Errol Spence and I'm man down. And Manny Pac, he don't want this smoke from Errol's. I'm the truth." Oops. Your man didn't turn up. All that talking for years about how scary, how hard you was. And how Pacquiao wouldn't want it. And you don't turn up. And people want to tell me about how what I'm saying is not true. But how there's not been a big cover-up. And now they're wheeling Errol Spence out again. And this shows you how little respect PBC have for general fans' intelligence. And the worst thing is, I can't even blame the PBC. Why? Because most of you man fell for it. Most of you man are accepting the fact that Errol Spence pulls out with one eye, and then they're shooting him back in there, and no one's asking any questions. None of you man are thinking, "Wait there a minute, I thought Errol Spence had one eye. How are they hyping up Spence versus Ugas now?" Oops. That's what Terence Crawford's saying. Why is my name being skipped over? I'm fresh, I'm fit, I'm ready. And again, it could be forgiven. "Oh, well, we're on different promotions." That's fine. But still, the facts remain. Your man Errol Spence has one eye. He's written off. Bottom line. There's no amount of opposite sides of the street should change the fact that Errol Spence has one eye. A man with one eye shouldn't be thinking about doing nothing, if that's genuinely the case. Oops. He doesn't have one eye. He's just fine. He'd been hiding out, laying low, for the coast to be clear. That's what Terence Crawford exposes right here. Now they're already trying to put that fight in the media. Makes me think a little bit. They play a dirty game, don't they? Errol Spence, Terence Crawford right here, it's airing out everything your man the YB's been reporting on. It's a dirty game. You best believe they set Pacquiao up. And I feel sorry for Terence Crawford because guess what? Terence Crawford wanted the Manny Pacquiao fight for many years. It didn't get made. Terence Crawford sees himself like, well, you know what? That could have been me. I wouldn't have played no goofy games. I would have got in there and committed to it and seen it through. It's a filthy game they've played. Spiking Pacquiao's drink. Giving Pacquiao only 10 days notice that the opponent's changed. Meanwhile, Ugas was informed 6 weeks before that Errol Spence wasn't going to be doing the fight. There's been a whole load of skullduggery going on. Faking the injury. Errol Spence faked his injury and now they're wheeling him out against Ugas as if nothing's happened. And like I said, this just shows how stupid fans are. The fact you accept that and don't ask no questions. Wait a minute. How can they be talking about Ugas versus Spence when you said Spence had one eye? That's why he couldn't fight Pacquiao. Oh, no. It's better now. It's fine. Yeah, come on. Spence versus Pacquiao. Spence versus Ugas. Forget about that, fans. Forget that we told you Forget that we told you Errol Spence has lost an eye. He's back in there now, ready to be wheeled out. Oops. Like I told you, it's all one big cover-up. PPFPP. PBC Protection from Pacquiao Program. Now, Errol Spence doesn't have the information I have on my channel. He doesn't have the inside contacts. He can't put all the little bits together. That's what my channel's for. Linking all the ish up. What we know is, Terence Crawford, he's smelling a rat. Read what he writes here. Makes me think a little bit. They play a dirty game, don't they? He smells something ain't right. Your man the YB brings the evidence and the proof. And the insiders to leak it all. No doubt. 100% confirmed. Terence Crawford stays on PBC. The only thing I worry about now is that you best believe if Terence Crawford keeps going down this road, he ain't never going to get the PBC fight. So if I was you, Terence, leave the exposing to the YB, because if you go down this road of exposing the PBC, you can forget about it. To be fair, you may as well, truth be known, because they ain't going to give you the fight anyway. So really, you should be retweeting your man the YB's information. No doubt. But ultimately, this just shows you the corruption. The deep corruption within PBC. And all the skullduggery they be doing. Fixing fights and cover-ups and pull-outs. And tainting drinks and whatever else. All kinds of messery going on. And if you disagree, explain to me how your man Spence is being wheeled out against Ugas. How was the PBC even talking about Spence? Because they were silent about him for the last 10 days into the fight. Didn't have nothing to say about him. Everyone was begging for more evidence. Please, Spence, show us some evidence you're actually injured. PBC weren't saying nothing about Errol Spence, but come fight night, all of a sudden they want to be talking about Spence all in the video.